Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's podcast. Today I'm here with my lovely brother Santosh, and he is one of the very good member of our Nepali community here in UK in Southampton, and he has been here for long, long, long time. And I want to understand how it is to grow up in UK while being in your early teens and how it is to experience new things and those kind of things. So today we're going to talk about those things here. So Santosh Das, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Ujjal Bhai, for inviting me to your show. Yeah, so my just to give you a background about me, I'm currently a finance analyst at Quilter, which is a financial service company. So I came to England just over 18 years ago, and I've been living with my family all this time. I'm married now, and I've got a kid.
So it's a happy life.
Yeah, it is a happy life.
Yeah. So yeah, to start, I would like to talk about like how it was growing up in UK. I mean, you came here when you were 14, 15-year old. So that's like early
15,
teens.
yeah.
Yeah. So how were those days?
Yeah, those days. If we wanna, let's go a little bit back
Yeah.
to Nepal. Nepal feels like a colorful TV. When you watch a colorful movie,
Yeah.
that's how I feel like when I. Yeah, everything feels so colorful. So that time, the infrastructures weren't great in Nepal. The roads were, I can feel the pebbles, on the road. Um, I can feel the splashes on every Friday when we went to school.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
water on the road. Yeah.
water on the road, and we had to wear the white um,
Yeah,
uniforms.
overall.
Yeah, uniforms to the sports. I still don't understand why they choose white color uniform
For
on
a
a sports
sports day,
day.
yeah.
I still don't understand. Probably that's the question to all the principals
Yeah.
in Nepal. Um, yeah, so as I said, Nepal felt colorful, full of culture, full of different festivals. And then suddenly I'm in England when I was 15, and then it felt like a black and white film.
The skies are grey.
Yeah, the skies are grey. I was here in October,
Oh, okay.
so the summer was over,
Yeah.
just over, uh, and then yeah, cold air, just you know,
A different kind of coldness. Like even if you are in cold place in Nepal, the cold here feels different.
yeah, deeper
Like,
cold.
yeah, it's like it's in your bones. It chills your bones here. That you feel that way. And yeah, I think I relate to that, saying that Nepal was as a colorful movie and UK being black and white. Like
Yeah,
especially when you come here in summer in UK is absolutely amazing.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
the countryside is amazing. The leaves, the meadows, the fields and everything. It's absolutely amazing.
Mm.
But the winter here, which is almost more than half of the year,
Yeah,
even though people like to say spring and fall, I mean it's winter. Come on. So that time it can be difficult, and yeah, I can definitely relate to that. So did you immediately go to school when you came to UK, or
yeah. So one of the uncle helped my dad to apply for the school.
yeah?
So I had to wait like 3 months,
Oh wow.
3 months to go to school. So I joined straight to year 10, which is like year 9 in Nepal,
Yeah.
and I was in year 9 in Nepal.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
So you had to repeat the same year again.
yeah. I mean, I was halfway through when I
Oh, okay.
when my class started in England.
Yeah.
I was halfway through year 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next year was a GCSE.
Oh, okay. That is
Yeah,
how it
so
works.
year
Yeah.
11 is a GCSE, which is equivalent to SLC.
SLC. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. For
Yeah.
those people who don't know SLC, it's SCE now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, did you immediately go to school or?
Yeah, so as I said, so there was like a 3 months, 2 3 months gap,
Yeah.
and that gap feels even darker than the first day I landed in England, because I was just in a room of 3 by 2 meter, spending almost 3 months of my life, just watching. Thankfully, this landlord had a VCR and he had some recorded series of Bollywood movies and Mahabharata series. So I was just spending my days just watching those while my parents went to work. So it was a struggle.
Yeah,
It was a
I
struggle.
can imagine. So maybe that is one of the reason. Like you said, you are now more spiritual than when you were in younger days. Maybe that is one of the reason. Like you're watching Mahabharats and Ramayans and trying to relate that to your own life, the struggles that you have and the struggles that the characters in those um, the myths. I mean, they are stories, so the characters in the stories have, and maybe you relate to that more now. So now that you're a bit older.
Yeah, probably. But at that time when I watched Mahabharata and Ramayana and so on, I didn't get it. I you know I used to watch them as if it's a God's story,
Yeah.
but then I never believed in it.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, it's more of like a very action pack movie, but
Yeah.
set in a in the period, in the time period that is very unknown to us,
Yeah.
because we only saw people wearing that kind of garments. We only
Mm.
see people wearing that kind of garments and like having the bow and arrow and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
If there is a special event happening, or if like it's in a paper that we paste as a like in a temple,
Mm.
we only see those kind of visuals in that frame. And when you see that in a movie, it's more of like a action pack character, and like they talk in such a different way as well, and it's like full pure Hindi. It's like the Hindi does not even
Yeah.
have any English words or anything, and that
Yeah.
also makes it very fascinating. And someone for us who are from Nepal, and like we understand Hindi, like because of the movies and all that, so it kind of helps. But yeah, but when you were in school at the time, was it easy for you to make friends?
Yeah, as I said, the school in the school, it was a mixed background, So there was to be Somalians, quite a lot of Somalians, quite a lot of Indians, just couple of Nepalese people, just me and maybe 4 or 5 more students. But then they were all younger than me,
Yeah.
so they already adapted to the situation quite easily than I did. And they all had a group, to form. So I was just like,
You were
So-
too old to be in the group, but you're young enough that you wanted to be in the group.
yeah, I wanted to be in a group, you
Yeah.
know. So there was a English group,
Yeah.
there was a Indian group, then there was a Somalian group, then probably European group somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt like I'm one of the red guy, out of everyone had this color, and I was just red, and no one would pick me, and I didn't have nowhere to go. But then obviously the closest, group I could
Yeah.
go to is the Indian group,
Yeah.
because they as soon as I told them that I'm from Nepal, they kind of came to me and then started talking. So I linked with them. I stayed, when it came to lunchtime, I used to go to them and hang around with them, and I felt safe
Yeah.
being in that group.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want it to be isolated. I was always in a group in Nepal.
Yeah.
Obviously we didn't have a group. We were just one group.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no group.
The whole
group,
school is one
one
group.
group.
Yeah.
So yes, I found that trying to mingle with that group quite tough.
Yeah. I mean, when I came to university, my university, like I was the only international student in my class, so everyone was from UK, and of course there was diversity in the classroom, different colors and all that, but they spoke in a more that was a British group, and I was not British basically. But being an extrovert, I would talk with all of them, be friends with all of them, and but it's still so it was not that difficult for me to make friends. But in order to have that deep relation with them, like like how friends are in Nepal, like you don't have to ask a friend to say, oh yeah, can I come to your house? You don't do that. You just go to their house. You just show up, they open the door, you eat the food they have cooked, or like if they have not cooked, they will cook the food for you and those kind of things. But here it's almost like having an appointment in order to see them. So you call them and ask them if they are free or not, where they are, and ask even if they want to see you or not. So that fact was very difficult for me to accept, that okay, people here, when they are friends, they mean different thing than what we mean as a friend in our country, in
Yeah.
Nepal. And then I met Nepali people here, and oh, amazing! Like that was like, when I was in UK, when I was in Nepal, and I was to think of going to other country, like to study and all that. I was like, I'm going to assimilate more with the culture of that country so that I can learn more about them than assimilate with the people who are Nepali in that country. Because I know Nepali culture, I know Nepali people. I don't want to know more about them. Like I want to know something else. That was my perception. But when I came here, it changed. I was like, you know what, we need Nepali people. Like I need that culture, I need that group of people who I can go back and relax and not have to pretend
Yeah.
that I'm someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because when I'm with other people, I am pretending I'm someone else. I'm not being like who I am.
Yeah.
And some people in our community, they're very nice, very welcome. Like you were very welcome. Like the first day we met, it was in the bar where I was working.
Yeah.
And then immediately, like, you did not, like, in Nepali there is a word called ton, and people use that word to talk with all the younger
Mm.
people, and I hate that when they do, because it's so disrespectful.
Mm.
But like you were very respectful, very kind, very humble. You took your time out, talked with me, and talked with Anis brother was there as well. You talked with him, and I felt welcome. I felt like home. I was like, okay, this is the community. If something happens, I can come back to them. I can ask for help, or I can,
Yeah.
if I feel homesick, I can come back. And
Yeah, we always want that safe zone, isn't
Yeah.
it? We're looking for that same
Yeah.
safe zone when you're in a
in a
different
new place,
in
yeah.
a new place.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe it's because you went through so much when you're young, when you came here, that now you feel for other people, like how
yeah,
difficult
yeah,
it can
absolutely.
be.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel that. Yeah, I can reflect on that time.
So
Yeah.
earlier when we were talking, before the podcast started, you were talking about your perception of like Western people before,
Yeah.
when you were in Nepal, and when you came back, when you came to UK. Like, I would like you to it would be lovely to hear that
Yeah.
again.
So it's an interesting one, So when I was little, my early childhood was in the heart of Kathmandu. It's a place called Osan.
Oh yes,
I guess you know.
yeah, that's
So,
the
yeah, that
center
I
of
used-
everything.
Yeah. So when my parents went to work, I used to hang around with my friends. We used to hire a cycle and cycle around and stuff. And we used to see a lot of tourists from Holland. Now I know it's Holland.
Yeah.
Back then I didn't know they were tall guys. They used to say something like Netherlands and so on. But yeah, so they were from Holland and America and United Kingdom. They used to be tall guys, tall guys, mostly on their suits, a backpack, and nice people. They come to you, they talk to you, they used to give me sweets. I remember, and I used to talk to them. Even though my English wasn't great, I used to love talking to them, and they were intrigued to understand what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Very nice people, and I always had that image in me. These people from abroad, they are nice people.
Yeah.
They're very nice people. They want to talk about you. They want to make friends. And then I come to England. It was like a vase getting shattered on the floor. My dreams, my perception just broke. That they just got on with their life. They don't want to talk to you. They're just too busy developing their life, their family. They're too busy doing their own thing. They've got their own friends they wanna talk to, so they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. And now you feel like you are the same. Like when you're young, the people you used to see that as those people, now you are the same people, because the reality of being in these places, like, there is so much work you need to do in order to earn money to have the kind of life that you want. So you, like, okay, you want to buy a car, okay, you need to earn more money because you have to pay for it. So a washing machine, you have to pay for it. House, you have to pay for it. Everything you have to pay for it. And heredity wealth that comes to people in this country, you don't really see those people. They live in a different world. The elite class lives in a different world. And
yeah.
the
Probably
people,
they were from an elite class, or
Yeah.
they were the nicest people. Like, they knew how to talk to people. They had that knowledge.
yeah,
They had that experience. Maybe I haven't seen those type of people around me these days, or at my early time when I first moved to England.
yeah,
Maybe I just didn't have that luck to meet
meet
those-
them. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, talking about the perception, like when in Nepal, like the place where I come from, which is like the western region, tourists normally they don't visit that part of Nepal, which is, I think it's a mistake made by tourists, because that part of Nepal is more beautiful than the part where they go and visit. It's more beautiful than Pokhara. It's more beautiful than, like, okay, Mount Everest, the tallest mountain, yada yada yada. But like there are beautiful things in the western part as well.
Yeah.
So we don't I didn't get to see a lot of tourists and or foreigners basically. But when I came to Kathmandu, I was in year 6, which is kind of similar to here. So I was like 11, 12-year old, and then I got to see so many of them. And my mum at the time used to work in this INGO, which is like this international institute, international organization basically, who is to help do community banking for all the people in the like all over Nepal basically. And I got to meet lots of foreigners in that INGO, like where they were. And yeah, like you said, like amazing people, like wearing shorts and all that, very tall, like you have to look at them like this when you talk with them. Me being a short person, it didn't even that didn't help as well. And yeah, they would be very interested in talking, like learning about the culture, knowing about like what we what we knew. And they would be surprised we knew about their country, we knew about like even their name of their prime minister, their president. We would know that, those kind of things. And sometimes we wouldn't know, but most of the time we would know. And then you meet with those people and they make you feel so welcome. They say, oh, if you ever get a chance to come to my country, give me a call and I will come and visit you. And that kind of interaction we had. And now when you are here, yeah, I mean, you don't get to see those kind of people. And also when we were there, we have this perception that they're superior than us, like you said. Like they know more than us. Like even the same, like an 18-year-old in Nepal would know less than 18-year-old in America or in Europe. That is what we used to think. But that changed for me as well. And so before coming to UK, I was planning to go to USA, like at university at Buffalo. So when I applied to that university, they put us in a group of students who had this certain kind of scholarship from that university. And I got this chance to talk with some of the students who were going to for the same course that I was. And we were talking about like how things are. And like they did not know, like, like how things are in the western part of America than I knew, like, which was surprising. Like they knew less about California than I knew. And I was like, wait a minute. It's like, so you guys are not superior than me. Like, that got clicked on my head at that time. Is as basically people are same. I mean, some people are intrigued and they interested and they want to know about different topics and they go and do it. Some people are not, and there are more people who are not like that than there are people who would be interested in everything. And I think when you look at like the people who going to countries like Nepal, which is like a niche country, like there are very particular things at that time that you could do, like either see the mountain or see the elephant and the tiger in the same place. I mean, other than that, there was not many things that Nepal offered, or unless
now it obviously offers so many things. Like climbing. You
can
do what the parachutes and
parachutes,
stuff.
paragliding. You can do surfing.
Bungee jumps and that.
There is more adventurous thing that you can do, and like you can go and experience the like very hot climate and the very cold climate in the same day as well. And there is infrastructure that is helping for that. But at that time, that didn't exist as well. And many people who also went there, they were through the organization who went there to help people. So their perception of Nepal was different. It's like, okay, Nepal, there are more poor people in Nepal, they need help and all that. So now it is different. So at the time, maybe those people who went to Nepal during those periods, they were not necessarily there just to experience the thrill of going to new country, but to experience that niche thing that they were very interested in. And those people do tend to have broader knowledge and broader horizon about other things. I'm not saying that people who just go to holiday to Bali don't have that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like, when you go to Bali, going to Bali as a tourist and going to Nepal as a tourist is completely different. You don't go to Nepal to enjoy margarita by the beach. You don't do that. You only do that in Bali. Not
now,
in Nepal.
probably you
now
do.
probably you can.
You do, but at that time maybe not. Less likely. No.
Like I talk with other students who come to UK as well, and sometimes like I see it in their eyes that they're not happy they're here, and I'm like, okay, what is one of the reasons that you're not happy? Like there are not many tall buildings in UK, and they say yes, and I'm like, why? And the thing is, like when we are in Nepal, our perception is like the developed countries have tall buildings, like like when you look like this, your hat on your head will fall down and those kind of thing. And I think it's just like how
Yeah,
naive we are,
it obviously the tall buildings and stuff. It all depends on the individual, I think. Because I like countryside.
Yeah.
I like I don't like tall houses.
No.
I like small houses. And in England is perfect, I think, in terms of the housing
The
facility and
architecture,
stuff. The
yes.
architecture,
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. It's very safe.
Yeah.
It doesn't harm your neighbor. And there is less chance for conflict.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
whereas if you go to Nepal, people,
Yeah. Well, it's
take
a
the
different
extra
world. Yeah.
land. There's so much corruption. You know, if we all want to be open, I think the neighbors won't be happy with the other neighbor because they have captured some of their land
Yeah.
by accident. you know, by accident and so on.
Or
So
sometimes by knowing as well.
by knowing as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of subjectivity
Yeah.
there.
I think it's to do with the fact that we connect like uh, the way we measure how wealthy someone is in Nepal is by how much land you have,
yeah.
rather than like maybe your investment in assets or those kind of thing. Like people don't even like now they do obviously, but back when I was young, like I don't think there was a talk of people investing in something like having something that they would think, oh, thing will go higher in value later. Of course, land goes high in value. That's why like people associate land as wealth, and so many quarrels happen in Nepal, in the culture that we come from, because of land. Like brothers fight with each other. Like the family, they get like shattered and they get separated because of the land, and
Yeah.
the association that the land is everything. Like without land, I would not be anyone or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is very interesting. Here, I think it's also to do that if you have a very big plot of land, either you have a estate, which is basically like a fancy house, or you have a farmland.
Yeah.
Or the land, you basically, even if you have a lot of land, you can't build houses wherever you want. In Nepal, you can do that. Here, you can't build houses wherever you want. You need to get permit, and you can have like certain certain height, certain length, width, and everything. And I think that certainly does help in eliminating all the conflict that happens with the neighbors. And here, one of the bizarre thing is that you don't get to see your neighbor, which
Yeah.
is weird.
Which is weird. Yeah, which is weird. But I mean, I like talking to my neighbor. The next door neighbor I've got is from Iran.
Oh wow.
They're in their late 70s or 60s, I would say. Yeah, nice people. I talk to them. I frequently check on them. I think in Nepal they say having a good neighbor is really important.
Yeah.
Because I've got a kid who can be noisy at times,
Yeah.
and if you have that good connection with your neighbor, they can be understanding
Yeah.
in
Definitely.
that situation.
Definitely.
Sometimes you might need extra parking because you've got a guest in your house.
Yeah.
You can use theirs if you got that good connection.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you need to have that.
I have a lady, a neighbor, which is like two house next to the house where I live, and her husband, when he was in the hospital, he was in the ward that I was working in. So then she recognized me. I was wearing mask and everything, but she recognized me that he's my neighbor. She came and talked with me. I didn't even knew she was my neighbor, and then. So I talked with him, talked with her, and also talked with the neighbor, and I was taking care of him when he was in the ward in the hospital, and then he got discharged, and after a few months, she knocked on the door saying that he had passed away, and so it was a very like sad moment for her. And then she was living alone. She only had one daughter who's a bit further away from where she lives, and then I went and I told her, like, if you need anything, just let me know, like anytime you can just knock on the door. I can go. I gave her my number as well, saying just give a missed call. If you are having any difficulty, I'll come and check on you. So from there we established that bonding, that the neighbor bonding, and like she is really caring now. Like when the riots were happening, she came to the door knocking, saying, be careful when you go out, like these things are happening here. So just be careful, I don't want you to get hurt. And like I have very little brother and sister, and when the water system, like recently when the water was running out, she came and said, the water will not be on the tap like after this time, so make sure you fill all the pots and pans, like you have enough water. And it's like that was so amazing, and and so there are people like there are more nicer people than bad people, I would say, but the voice of bad people is so loud it masks all the voice of nicer people here. And that's why we see so much of talk about like the immigration and immigrants and how bad they are. Like they say like almost all immigrants are criminals and those kind of things. And in America they even started using the word alien, which is a right word if you are in 1700s, but not now.
Mm.
That word comes from the Constitution in the American Constitution, 1789. I think it's in there where they're talking, like when they say alien. At that time, they used to talk about the foreigners, but
Mm.
now when you say alien, you don't associate with a human being. You associate
Mm.
with something that is not human being, extraterrestrial. Yeah.
Mm.
So now the fact that they're using that word is to alienate basically those people so that they can demonize them. Because unless you demonize them, you can't hate them. You can't hate someone unless you demonize them.
Mm.
So now the reason, sorry, I'm going in tangent, but the reason that they're calling aliens to immigrants is like they want to get rid of all the immigrants, like illegal immigrants, they say. So they want to get rid of them, but when they start getting rid of them, it won't be nice. The sight will be horrible. There will be people who will die. There will be people who will be tortured. There will be people who will not be, like, separated from family and all that. You can't do that to human beings, like while you associate with them as human being. You can
Mm.
do that when you don't think of them as human beings, and when you start calling them alien, that is what you do. Like, you don't think of them as human beings, and that is how it, like, starts basically. And we get to see the bad side. And like, coming back to UK, talking about the riots time, that time it made me realize that, like, I might not belong to UK, or I might not. And certainly when I go back to Nepal, sometimes I do feel like I don't belong to Nepal as well. Like, do you have that kind of feeling, like you neither belong here or in Nepal?
Yeah. No, I do. I sometimes. I mean, I've spent, as I said, 18 years here, and then I hardly go back to Nepal. I've only been to Nepal what, 4 times now, maybe 4 5 times. And during that 5 times, well, if you times that by 30 days, how many is that?
150 days.
150 days in Nepal. In the last 18 19 years, I
Wow.
spent
Yeah.
150 days in Nepal, and yeah, so that's how much British I am. You know?
Very British. Yeah.
Yeah. But I connect to Nepalese music. You know, I love listening to Nepalese music. I love watching Nepalese comedy. When someone tells me English joke, I hardly laugh. I have to be honest, I hardly laugh. And when someone tells me Nepalese joke, I
Yeah.
laugh a lot. So now you tell me,
Yeah.
whether I'm British or Nepalese. But I want to be called I'm earthy, or like I
Yeah, you
belong to
belong
this
to the
earth.
earth,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I only. Yeah, I don't like to be associated with any particular country now.
Okay. That is very nice. I think
Yeah.
that is how we human beings we're supposed to be. Like, we're the only animals which are caged by borders. Like,
Yeah.
I say this a lot in this podcast as well. People might get, like, fed up with it, but it is true. Like, a bird can fly from here to Senegal without having to show passport. Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoy a lovely time in Senegal, come back and also enjoy a lovely time in UK.
Yeah.
But if you are a human being, well, if you have British passport, it is quite easy to go to Senegal, but you need to have the passport, and they need
Yeah.
to check, they need to verify. The fact that you're a human being is not enough. You need to be more than that. You need to belong to a particular place, particular country, and have that red or purple or blue or green color passport. And if you have green color passport, you might not be very lucky, because it is associated with the countries which have least strongest passport, like Nepali passport.
Yeah.
And like we say, we have freedom, we are human beings, we can go anywhere, we have achieved so much that we can fly from this country to that country. Well, if you are from Nepal and if you say this thing in the street in Nepal, I think people would look at you and laugh, because even though you are rich, you can't go. Like, you need to apply for visa. The process is so long, so tedious. And it is I don't know why. I think the perception in the Western world is that people from those countries with lower economic background, when they leave their country, they don't want to go back. I think that is what they think, which is wrong. That is not true. People do want to. People don't want to leave their home very easily. They don't leave their home unless there is something like that is serious or that is important,
Yeah.
or unless that is something that they want in their life. They don't leave their home just like that,
Yeah.
because you leave your entire generations of the relations that you have built. You just completely
I
leave
think
that.
everyone left their country because they wanted to develop. I
Yeah.
think,
Better life for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
yeah, they better life. Just develop. I think develop ourselves. Because my dad keeps saying, if you wanted to just have food, you can go back to Nepal.
Yeah.
There's plenty of food there. The mud is such that you want to grow anything, it will grow.
Yeah.
You won't grow, maybe won't grow gold, but
Yeah.
it will grow you food.
Yeah.
The mud is so nice, in Nepal. The crops grows marvelously. If you want to spend time farming,
Yeah.
it's a good business in Nepal. If you want to
Yeah.
do farming, I've seen a lot of video of people growing oranges and making crores of money. Building their house and
Yeah.
stuff. So there is a huge scope. But most of the Asians or whoever is going, no matter whether Westerner going to Nepal or Westerner, no, Nepalese coming to England or UK or any parts of the world, is to develop themselves.
Yeah. They want to make themselves better. I
Yeah,
mean, and by
better.
that, they develop the place where they go as well.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely,
like
absolutely.
no, it's not necessarily they are stealing the thing from the place where they go. It's they contribute to the place where they are going, and they want to develop themselves physically, economically, of course financially, and in terms of like intellectually. Like there are so many things that we can't access from Nepal. Like online libraries, there are so many online libraries that you can't access from Nepal, like because there is no payment system the with outer world, and that makes us isolated. Like even though we are like okay open to the internet, we can watch any videos in YouTube or something like that, but if I wanted to access a course, I can't do that because I can't pay. Even if I have enough money in Nepal, I can't pay because that banking system doesn't exist in Nepal. Still to this day it doesn't exist. And from that, if we go back and talk about education, it's very limited that what you can study in Nepal. That's why many students, when they graduate after grade 12 or after their undergraduate course, they want to leave Nepal and go to other country because they want to get higher education. Because the only way we can build wealth in Nepal now for middle class people or like the upper middle class people, the upper middle class in Nepal is not as same as upper middle class in anywhere else in the world. The upper middle class in other countries are very, very rich compared to our upper middle class in Nepal. The middle class and lower class in Nepal is so low that the upper middle class is also like it's comparatively low when you compare with other countries. Like when it comes to talk about salary, if you earn anywhere more than 30,000 Nepali rupees, which is like 150 pound, around 200 pound a month, you're considered like fair, like a good paying job worker person, and that will count you as like upper middle class these days, and even back when we were young as well. So there are many reasons, and so those people, the only way to build wealth or only way to have a good life, like life with where you don't have to spend 3 hours washing your clothes, you can buy a machine that washes your clothes with the press of a button. That machine costs 3-4 months salary, and it's not possible for people. And like of course we always want to make our life better, and the way to make our life better is using our brain, because there's we also Nepal is also a country whose largest export is human beings, because we export army, we export like labor to other cheap labor to other countries who are almost treated as slaves in the Middle East. So yeah, those things also exist there, but yeah, that is one of the ways why people leave. And
obviously now I don't think there are many workers that struggles. I mean, there are still, but I don't think the ratio is that high now, because I think through different Facebook, different platforms, social platform, I think people have got that knowledge now. You can get a better job, and you can fight for
your rights.
Slave working or your rights. I think people have got that knowledge now.
Yeah.
So I think the ratio is not. It's still there is some I would say, but not as much as it used to be.
Yes, definitely, and I think the credit of that goes to Ravi Lamisane, and I think that's one reason why people love him so much. I mean, there are so many reasons to hate him, but one of the reasons people love him so much is that it's like when he was the journalist, or if you can call him journalist at the time, he did very good things for them. He used to go to the places, show their situation, talk with the ambassadors, talk with our government, and say, why is it like this? Why can't you change?
I think he did good at that.
So I think that credit goes to him. But yes. Talking about now Ravi Lamisane, he's the politician in Nepal. The Nepali community here, they also have like their political ideas about Nepal, and like what do you feel about that? Like, why do you think they have such a support for Nepali, like parties, or do they support the party, or do they support the nation, or do they support individual?
Yeah, I mean, listening to my dad's and his friends' conversation, so when I initially came to England, they all had favorism of their own party. Some used to favor Maoist, and so other used to favor like MLA or the Congress, and so on. But now I think that has diminished.
Okay.
It has drastically changed. I think when I speak to my dad now, He doesn't have any trust on any particular party. But I think there has been a growth in believing in a certain person, like of Balen Saha and Harka Sampang and the Robbie
Yeah.
Lani Chane. So I think there is they want someone to come as a hero and rescue the country. I think because they have lost the trust in the party, because parties are all corrupt and
Yeah.
they could come together and they do nasty things, I think.
Yeah, we've given them opportunities so many times to these political parties,
Yeah.
and they have like never, like, we used to have load shedding for 16, 17 hours a day,
Yeah.
and a guy came, and after a few years, we don't have load shedding anymore.
And
It was
we're selling our
electricity to other countries.
country, yeah.
And okay, how many hydropower projects have come on after that? Not that many. Like,
I don't
turns
know.
out,
Yeah.
turns out how many we had was enough. And a guy comes, turns on the switch, and we have lights. But
And
there
we
was,
export lights.
yeah,
it's crazy.
now we export it, and there were people, like, corrupt people who were in charge of that resource, the only major resource that we have in our country, who were misusing it so much that people had to live, like, under the darkness for so long,
Yeah.
like 17 hours a day, and especially in the evening time when you have to study, when you want to, so how, even if you have access to internet, how are you going to access internet and learn something when electricity goes away for 16, 17 hours? You can't do that. And
I think the problem with Nepal is with all these people, government workers. I think they're not doing the basic thing.
yeah, well,
You know,
yes, I agree with that.
Saha, he did his work.
Yeah.
He's doing his basic work. I don't know whether he's going extra. He's doing extraordinary job. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's so much talks in the media. Everyone's just making these videos without doing fact check or
Yeah.
whatever. So I don't want to, have a wrong
Opinion or idea
opinion.
about him, yeah.
But I think he's doing his basic job.
Yeah.
And I think most of the people in the government, as a government employee, they should do their basic job
Yeah.
and
I
then
think-
improve our country.
I think he has been the best mayor that our capital city has ever seen.
Yeah.
Period. Like, there is no other judgment that you can make. And also with the fact that the investment in the public schools that he's doing in Nepal, the investment in the hospitals and all that, and the checks, he does regular checks on places, either they're functioning properly or not, either they're following guidelines or not. That is what we, like, should have seen, like,
Yeah.
long before he
Yeah,
came.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that was the case, people would not be rallying behind one person in order to get him to the power so that he can work for us. People would not do that if they had faith in people. Whoever they vote would do the same thing, like, through parties. But that hasn't happened. And unfortunately, Nepal does not have direct representation. As a political leader, we can't have our directly represented prime minister. That's why we can't choose one party. So that's why we can't have hero as in Nepal overall, which is like everyone's dream. But like, that dream is kind of impossible as of now. But hopefully it might change in the future. If it changes, I might go and stand as being one of the candidate. Let's see.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. We have these heroes. I mean, I think we had loads of heroes. If you go back to Gangalal.
Yeah. Oh yes.
We had loads of heroes in the past. I think that's the problem with heroes. Once they die or something happens to them, and then we all go back to zero.
Yeah. No one. Yeah. The new.
Yeah, because there is no system in place.
Yeah.
And when there is no system in place, then one person comes, does good work, and everyone just, after he goes, or after he drops from his position, everyone just steps on his on his work, and that's it. It's gone after a couple of years. So we need a proper system in Nepal, which everyone will follow. That's the main difference with the Western world, as in like England and UK. Then in England, you have a system where everyone follows.
Yeah.
At least 90% follows.
Yeah.
Yeah, there will be 10% who won't follow, but that's like they can't write it off.
Yeah.
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 They write it off. So
When I was working in the municipality in Nepal as a government officer there, the one thing that I saw was like the power that mayor has and the power that the main administrative officer has. So the main administrative officer is the government employee. So his job, he will not lose the job. The mayor, they come and go every 5 years. But the administrative officer, he will be in that position until he retires, which is like 50 years. Like if he's in his 30s or something like that. And So the power imbalance between them is so high. Like sometimes the mayor will be like, "Oh, can you sign this thing for me because we want to implement this?" And the main administrative officer will be like, "No, we cannot do that."
Mm.
And mayor would ask, "What is the reason?" There is no bloody reason. It's just because the main administrative officer, if he's corrupt, he or she is not getting enough in
Mm.
that piece of pie, you know. So that's what they don't want to implement. And that guy, so the person that I used to work under was she was the, like administrative officer for the department, not the administrative officer for the whole municipality. So the main reason she wanted to do government job was to, like, you know, remove corruption from the place. But she saw so much corruption happening in her municipality, even though she was not taking any money. Like she used to get offered in front of me, like I used to get offered, even though I was like the low level officer there. I used to get offered like bribe and, like, you know, tickets to go to some place, or tickets for like free helicopter ride to, like, if like, you know, to my village if I want to go or not, those kind of things. And we just used to reject, saying, you know what, the government pays us enough, we don't want to. Even the government was not paying us enough, we would just say that. And she would have the same attitude, say no to so many things. And imagine, like, you being tempted every day by so much like money, you know, that the double your salary, three times your salary, but he's still saying no. And she was working like that, and still she didn't get any credit. She didn't get any credit. She did not get enough, like, you know, respect that she deserved in that place. And after that, she moved to the ministry, and she works for the ministry now. I think she works for foreign ministry, or the internal revenue ministry or something. I'm not really sure. But yeah, she had to move away from that. And if she was there, and if she were able to work, but she had very good relationship with mayor. Like mayor would listen to whatever she had to say, and he would even listen to me. Like we're talking about building a tram that goes from the bottom of the hill in the Fulchoki, which is like the tallest hill around the valley, the capital valley, to go to the top. We're like, we can have a tram system, you know, the vertical one that goes. They started doing the environmental study in order to have that, which was like a wild idea that I had. And they started doing a study about that, and they might implement it if they have enough money later. But there were other people who were pulling the lakes, and, like, you know, people would come to our department, get work done in 5 minutes, and go to other department, wait 2 hours. So even though we did good work, like at the when you judge overall municipality, we get hate because we belong with those people. And at the time, I mean, always had this idea that, you know, I might one day like do a government employee, like, you know, be a government employee or work in the government sector because I want to bring some change. But when I was working there, I realized I can't. One person can't. One single person cannot do it. And it depends on leader. If the mayor is not good, if the political leader, like the minister of the minister of the ministry is not good, then it doesn't matter how good the employees are. Even if they are good, they can't do, because there is a barrier, which is the highest barrier you can have. And if the minister is good and the employees are not good, they are also a barrier, because at the end of the day, they are the one who implement everything. And we don't have that. And it's still the one good thing about Mayor, like Balin, what he did was like he was like, every meeting will get published on the television. Like everyone will get to see all the meetings we have. So those people who are not even good, they have to pretend now being good. And I think that was a very like clever idea he implemented.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
he's a smart guy.
And I think he will be mayor for a long time, unless there is a massive corruption during election, and then, you know, the other people, they get money and then vote for other person, because 5,000 rupees today is a lot of money, apparently, than having a good, you know, possible future for everyone. Maybe increase in 10,000 rupees in your salary. People don't think about that when they get 5,000 rupees to vote for a leader, and that is one of the bad things about Nepal. But I think we've talked a lot bad things about Nepal. I want to come back and talk more about you. You are married and you have a kid. And do you consider yourself as having married and having kid at very early age than you would like to have, or?
No, I think I from what I think anyway, I feel like I got married at the right age. So I was 25, 26 when I got married. But that's the right age from my perspective, because, you know, I'm physically well.
Yep.
You know, and if I wanted to have kid at that time, then I'm a perfect time, you know.
Yep.
Because they consider, you know,
that
25,
is,
30 to 35 is a good age for a male, and for a female, you know, up to 30 is a good age to have kid. So yeah, I mean, my missus was 5 years younger than me. Well, me, obviously it's contradicting again, you know. So maybe I could have postponed it five more years. You know, have
Yeah.
my better. I mean, have more qualifications and maybe some more good work experience. Then I got married. But then you know, you need to think of your parents' perspective.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously I come from again
Yeah.
Nepalese culture. You know, so I need to think of my parents' perspective, my parents' health condition, my health condition. You know, there's so many
Factors and
factors
yeah.
that affect your marriage. You know,
Yeah.
because you know your parents can get as they grow old, they get lots of illnesses. You
Mm.
know, and that can have a knock-on effect on me because and my offspring. You know, because in Nepalese culture, your parents tend to give a lot of care for your offspring. You know,
Yeah.
especially at the early stage. You know, I think that's a missing part in England with so many kids nowadays with I think mental illnesses or you know
Loneliness and all those things.
loneliness
Yeah.
and stuff is because the grandparents aren't around.
Yeah. Even parents are not around most
Even
of the time.
parents are
Yeah.
not around and
Yeah.
grandparents are not around. With grandparents, because I know young parents they need to go out and work
Yeah.
because without working, how you gonna survive in England
Yeah.
when when the cost of living is so high? You know, but grandparents they will have time.
Yeah.
You know, they are at their retirement age. You know, and they will have time, and it's good for them and for your kid because they've got opportunity to take care of a new born. You know, connect with the new generation. You know,
Yeah.
and even though they are not directly from grandparents, you know, but there is a link.
Yeah. There is that bonding. Yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
bonding, you
Yeah.
know, massive bonding, and I think this generation of the kids are missing that.
Yeah.
And my kid is very privileged to
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah. But I would like. I would say the same thing. Like my brother and sister, my twin brother and sister, the age gap between me and them is massive. But they were very fortunate that their grandma comes and looks after them like every Thursday she used to, and now they go to school, so she can't. But like see, and because of that, my sister and my brother they learned so many things, like even nice habits. Like if my sister had learned all the habits from me or my mom and my stepdad, I don't think she would have all the good habits.
Mm.
But because the grandma was there and she was teaching her and teaching my brother like these nice things and bringing like making them feel like they are cared, they are loved.
Mm.
Which sometimes parents they get focused on feeding the child and clothing the child and sending the child to school so much. The love doesn't. Yeah, the love doesn't come.
frustration
Yeah.
comes more than the love, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, because I remember I used to get frustrated with my kid, you know, not listening and so on, you know, and then having to run around, you know, to school, to his sports, you know, because I missed that facility as a youngster, you know,
Yeah.
because my parents were always busy earning, you know, I never had chance to go to, you know, these lessons, you know, swimming lessons, football lessons, and so on. And I don't want my kid to miss that. So I'm giving him that opportunity, but then with that comes the frustration as well because I have to manage so many things.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Because as soon as I finish work, I have to take him to school, to his football sessions or swimming sessions, you know. And then after, as soon as finish, you know, then you know you have to do house chores. Like obviously my missus
Yeah.
does most of them, but I do also help.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously I've got other things to do as well. You know.
And then
And
ask
yeah.
him to read a book or like read a book for him, and then the kid doesn't sleep on time because
Time.
you need to sleep on time. You have
Time.
early morning next day,
Yeah.
and then yeah, the anger comes out of it. And I think
Yeah.
it's very natural that
Yeah.
like it's and our lives has been so busy, and there are many reasons, political reasons, economical reasons for that happen, that affect the knock-on effect that they have. But also yeah, and when you have a kid in that kind of situation and you don't have external support like from grandparents, I think kid misses like that love, that care. And you also sometimes you get a bit of time, a bit of relief, okay, I can leave my kid like for like half an hour with them, and I can go and just relax, like close my eyes for like half an hour. And yeah, that is a privilege, I would say.
Yeah,
that is a privilege
yeah.
for us in our culture that we have, which is one of the best thing that our culture has to offer, I would say. And I think when people look at the Western culture, that they talk about that when they talk about how your community is together, rather than talking about how families are together, because our community is as same as, I would say, it's not as same as UK, but like our English community would be like, you come together when there is something bad happening, but if unless there is something bad not happening, you're all separate. It is kind of similar to that, but our relations, like the family relation, is so vast that even if the community doesn't come together, the family comes together, and you get to have that feeling. And yeah, that would be definitely a plus point for us as being a parent, or being a parent at early age or something like that. But now you see your son growing up in UK, and like, do you feel like how many things you missed as opportunities when you were young, when you were in Nepal, or like when you're even growing up here?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is the parents' time. I give him a lot of time. In Nepal, I don't think like kids got that much time from their parents. Maybe now they have more, because I think there is a lot of awareness now. The parents has to give time to their kids. Again, talking about the poor family, obviously they won't be able to give time again, because obviously they need to earn money. But I think there is a growing knowledge that parents has to give time to their kids.
And so I think love as well at the same time.
I think I've seen like pictures of my friends and families in Nepal taking their kids to zoo and different sports, swimming and so on. So I think life in Nepal for the kids have changed dramatically. I remember my time. There was no playground. I mean, there is still no playground, but obviously there are centers open now. The companies have opened. But in my time, there's no playground. You play in a rough surface. You could get cut in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I remember, as soon as I finished school, and that day we planned this cricket game.
Okay.
And then if you don't go there on time, because they are organized by the elder brothers, elder brothers of this of the group, and then if you don't go on time, you miss. Right, you become a spectator, and I didn't want it to be that, and I think this was a cricket thing. So as soon as I came home, I don't used to study. I hardly remember. I was not academic guy. I used to read little, but that would be sufficient to pass. I was that smart, or I wasn't smart. I don't know, but I used to just pass. I used to go through, and then this day I come home, just drop my bag and just have something little, and then run. And you have this bank of lands. You have to go past it. And they were like big steel, because it was a development site. People were building house. I ran. And obviously back in that time, we don't used to wear shoes. I'm on my chappal, the slippers, flip-flops. Yeah, and then my toe hits this steel. This steel.
And
my nail just gone.
Oh my God! Oh, that must have been so painful.
Mate, and blood comes out heavily. And then that's it. my chance is gone now.
5 minutes out of the house, you can't play cricket
now
anymore.
I'm not thinking about wound. I'm thinking about I can't play cricket now.
Oh, okay.
There's a pain. That pain is there. Obviously, the pain of my nail coming out, my bleeding is there. But I'm also thinking about the cricket. That's it. I can't play cricket now. It's bleeding. So then I have to return back home.
Such a disappointment.
Such a disappointment. So I mean that you don't have to go through that now. I think even in Nepal.
Yeah, I mean, I think parents. They care. I mean, of course, they used to care about their kids before as well, but now they show the care. Now they are more attentive to us. Like, before they would be like, send their kids to school and they say, okay, beat them, my child, if you have to, in order to make discipline.
I remember
Parents
my dad
used to
saying
say
that. My dad actually said that, if he's not listening, beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, and then he will listen. And like, now I don't think parents would say that.
Parents
and
won't say
please, if you are listening to us, and if you are a parent from Nepal or from anywhere, and if you have that kind of idea that your kid will listen after beating your kid, believe me, it doesn't work because we got beaten up. We never listened even after getting
Yeah.
beaten up, and
Ah man, I
and it's
used
a
to
trauma
get,
for a kid.
yeah, I
It's
used
a
to
lot
get,
to go through.
yeah, I
It's a
used
lot to
get
go through
lots
for a
of
kid.
yeah, beating in my
Yeah.
school, man.
I used to
Just
get kicked out of the classrooms,
yeah.
and my mom used to teach in the same school. So
Oh,
the worst part was like she would from her classroom, she would see me like getting kicked out of my classroom, standing outside the classroom, and just being like that.
mm,
And she would come and ask the teacher, "What did he do?" "Oh, he must have talked a lot." And my teacher would say, "Yes, asked too many questions." And then she would like pull my hair from here, which is very painful.
yeah.
Send me to the classroom, not say anything to me, and then go and have meeting with the teachers and then talk with the teachers. She would be like, "Okay, well if you can't answer, just say don't ask questions. Why do you have to kick him out of the classroom?" So she kind of defended me, but at the same time, like she also punished me for that. But I think I mean, you don't want to see your kid getting kicked out of the classroom,
No,
isn't it?
no.
So maybe that is one of the things. But
Yeah.
I think here,
I think obviously the parents, obviously, I don't want to say the parents were wrong, because
Mhm.
I think that's the only way they knew that the kid's gonna improve. So hence why they said beat the kids out, beat the kids up, and then make them learn. But now we know there are different ways of learning. You can be softer and still, make them
yeah, and also
have that knowledge.
and also the fact that many families they have like someone outside of Nepal now and they're
Yeah.
learning so many things also helps in that
Yeah,
regard.
absolutely. I mean, being in this Western world, and then us sharing our photos, videos of our kids' achievements. I think back in Nepal, people are learning.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Maybe you got to treat your
treat
kid
your
a bit
kids
nicely.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in that way, Western systems are better.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they don't punish you. They don't physically punish you because you didn't do your homework here. At least,
mm,
I mean, that was the see that's why in our academic system is so flawed. It's like we're so focused on homework and
mm,
getting that thing done. We don't focus on getting the knowledge out of it.
mm,
And the only time they test our knowledge is through this very tedious exam where you have to sit down and write everything that you have mugged up. And if you forget that the day after exam, you're shorted. But as
mm,
long as you remember until the exam,
mm,
you're good. But like it's all mugging up. It's just remembering. You're not learning anything. So like
mm,
I think the first time I ever learned anything was when I was in high school, and we had one of the teacher who had studied in Australia. We had one who had studied in Australia who used to teach us physics, and one who had studied in America who used to teach us chemistry.
mm,
And those guys, they were like, you know what? No homework for you guys. Like no homework at all until grade 12. No homework.
mm,
This time, what you're gonna do is like you're gonna go to the laboratory, do the practicals, and write about it. Write whatever you find. I don't care what you find. If something like as long as you don't burn down the laboratory, do whatever the hell you want. And that's how I learned like the chemistry and the chemicals and everything.
yeah.
And with physics, I have so much respect for the teacher. His name is Ocean Seresta, and I'm not sure if he's still teaching in the college that I went to. It's Golden Gate International College in Nepal, and he introduced us to this like asteroid hunting program where basically there were a bunch of images of asteroids going around in the sky from the observatory, and our job was to find out any asteroid that has not been found before, and we can name them after ourselves or give it any name. So
Mm,
there would be an asteroid flying in the sky named after like some guy in Nepal or something. He introduced us to that program. He introduced us to Olympiad, and I was really passionate about going to Olympiad. But what happened was like in Nepal, I don't come from a very good economic background family. My mom was the only person earning, and in order for me to go to college, the only way I could get was through a scholarship. And the only way I can get a scholarship is to mug up as much as I can so that I can get the highest score in the exam.
mm,
And that's what I did. So I did not get opportunity to participate in the exam in any sports. And also because I was studying science in my high school for like my A level equivalent, we were not allowed to play sports in the college. The college was like, you know what, you guys are studying science, it's difficult. You don't get to play any sports. I'm like, why? How does that make sense? Just because I'm studying a subject. And here I see people, they are studying physics, chemistry, and French. That liberty to choose those things. And also they will be doing swimmings, they will be doing kayaking and all that
Yeah.
on the side, which is, I think it will take time for it to be accepted as something that is good for kids in Nepal or for youths,
Mm.
because we're still worried about the length of hair when you go to colleges. It's still in Nepal, and like
Is
you
it?
know,
I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know what the
get
system
abused.
is like
Oh,
now.
it's horrible. It's horrible. Like they hire basically ex gang members to be your discipline in charge in the college.
Mm,
Like how does that make sense? A gang member is teaching you how to be disciplined.
mm. Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
there's too much threat. There is always threat, and you're trying to put your student in
Yeah,
fear environment, so they
exactly.
learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no one learns when they're fearful. And we literally have the same story in a book. There is a book where you talk about like there is a king who gives basically a challenge to find his wife because his wife is very talented, but he gets her lost somehow. And the trick was like any person in this country who can raise a goat from for this long, but the weight of the goat would had be same, like not change, not go up or go down. And he knew only his like the girl that he loved could figure it out, and the way to figure it out was have goat in a cage in here and have like a wolf in the cage in the other. So goat is eating as much food as he wants, but he's also constantly like afraid of the wolf. So
Yeah.
the goat is so stressed that its weight doesn't increase. That we learned that thing in our school, but we don't implement that.
Yeah.
And it's a sad story. It's a sad story. I mean, yeah, and I think that is one of the reason why many Nepali youngsters who have grown up in that kind of environment don't want to go back to that environment and have a family in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
like I see so many of them, they are so stressed, like just even thinking about it. And I mean, I relate to them. So now we have talked about like coming out of Nepal and like struggles and all that. Do you think many people they fear that they have some kind of like fear while for going back to Nepal? Like they want to go back to Nepal, but then they feel like the relatives might not respect me anymore. They might call me a loser, or like I would be considered loser in, as a community, because they would say, oh, you couldn't achieve anything even though you went to a foreign country. Do you think that is one of the reason why many people are hesitant even though they want to go back?
Yeah, I don't know about other people, but if I want to go Nepal, now, with my kid and my missus, so the first thing I would always think about is, will I have sufficient income
Mm-hmm.
to feed my son and my
Yeah.
missus, and what would I do there?
Yeah.
I can't go and farm now
No.
because I don't have that knowledge. I don't have that resilience
Yeah.
in me to go through the summer, to go through the
Oh, yes.
wind and the rainy season, to the crops and stuff.
Yeah.
I can ask my uncle, because he's still a farmer. He might be able to help me, but then he's only going to help me couple of days, couple of
Yeah.
months. Then obviously he's got his own business to do. Yeah. So I don't think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And again, the guys over there, we can't underestimate them. They are clever people,
Oh, yeah.
and they have grown through a lot of struggles, and they've got lots of ideas.
Yeah.
They've got lots of online. There's lots of online businesses in Nepal, and it's going to be really difficult for me unless I do some sort of investment
Yeah.
in Nepal, like, I don't know, land,
Yeah. Some
or some sort
property,
of
some
shops
company. Yeah.
and stuff, because I don't have many
Mm.
skills.
Yeah.
I need to be able to, I can't make jewelries.
Yeah.
I can't do any other stuff. I can do accounting, but
Yeah.
then accounting is not
Yeah.
a
There are
rocket
no.
science.
Yeah.
It's not a rocket science.
Yeah.
Anyone can do accounting.
Well, and
you
also
know.
I think one of the main reason is like the same kind of workplace where you do your job here, that doesn't necessarily exist in Nepal. Like you can't really have like even if you think, okay, I'm going to establish a company, it will be like a financial service providing company, like wealth management, asset management company, let's say. And you go to Nepal and like, okay, the first thing would be, okay, where should I document my company? Where should I register my company? Here you can go to a website and do it. In Nepal that doesn't work. You need to go to the lowest of the low government official branch. You go there, and then from there you go to the higher one, then higher one, and the higher one, and then you so basically you are in that place, but in that place you can't register for tax. You need to do that separately for the tax. And like you need to know like what kind of tax you need to pay. No one tells you what kind of tax to pay or what kind of tax you are supposed to pay. Where you can register your business, how many employees you can have, and with how many employees what kind of responsibility comes. Those kind of things they are missing. And here one of the benefits is like you go to a website, register your business, you can start the business. If you earn money, you pay tax, and then if you need any help, you can write a letter or you can write an email to somebody and they will help you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't exist. And I think that is one of the hurdle that many people find while saying going back to Nepal. And one of the reason is that as well, like the family will consider you of being a loser because they think going to a foreign country is this lottery, like this jackpot you hit. Yeah? Like you go there, you have very nice job, you have a house, you have a car, and then your life is sorted. And like no one cares about how difficult it is to have buy that bloody house and that car, and then like travel in that car every day. People don't necessarily drive their car because it's a luxury; it's a necessity.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's not a luxury.
Yeah, it's
no,
not. It's
no.
not like a well, unless you have a very fancy car. It's not. It's a necessity. That's what why you're doing. And in order to have that necessity here, you need to work more.
Yeah.
Like the same hours that were enough for you without having car is not enough after having car. You need to work more hours. So yeah, people don't consider that, and yeah, they will consider you of being as a loser or being as someone who couldn't achieve anything uh, in foreign land where they
Yeah,
feel as if
I
it's
mean,
like the land of
I don't know whether
opportunity.
they will tell me if I'm a loser, but they will all definitely suspect me.
I know a
they
few
will,
people who will tell me that.
yeah, they will suspect me because I mean you're a student, so they might have a different perception.
Oh yeah,
about you.
definitely. Yeah.
But because obviously they know that I've been in England for 18
Yeah.
years now. If I go back, maybe they will think, oh, maybe he had enough.
Yeah.
of
Oh yeah,
road
he
time
wants to
missed.
retire.
Maybe he wants to
yeah.
have time with his family,
Yeah.
friends and family here, and then he moved here. But yeah, as I said, it's yeah, they won't consider me as a loser, but they'll definitely suspect me. I was like,
Yeah.
why is he here?
Yeah.
They will definitely have a question
Yeah.
in mind because I'm at my prime age, and they would think at my prime age I would want to earn more money.
Yeah.
And going back to Nepal, unless I have a plan in my head, I wouldn't want to go back to Nepal because they would think, why the hell would he be here
Yeah.
without a plan?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without
And
a plan. Yeah.
Well, for the students who are listening, for the international students who are in many different countries, what I would say is like, if you really want to go back to Nepal, if you have a plan, just do it. Don't listen to anybody. Just do it. Go for it. But if you think you can achieve something wherever you are, and then you can take that achievement and do something later on, that is also completely fine. Like absolutely fine. And somehow, if you make your life really nice somewhere else, if you see yourself being in some places, if you see yourself moving around the world, going from one place to another places, getting experience of as many things and as many opportunities as you can, of course you got to do that. I think you need to give yourself enough freedom to say that, okay, if I want, I will go. If I don't want, if I want to do something else, I will also get to do something else. But also it depends on how the country is treating you as now, because the immigration policy and everything. But hopefully that will be sorted and those things will be good. Now talking about the UK Nepali community, I want to ask you a question. I don't want to put you in this spot, but I think this question will put you at this spot. I'm sorry for that already. What is the one thing that Nepali community in UK, or especially Nepali community as a whole, which in the foreign countries needs to improve, that they have not improved?
Or the Nepali community need to
yeah.
improve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I initially came to England, there was no community as such.
Yeah.
Probably was in Aldershot, Farnborough, and other places, but definitely not in Southampton. Because they were like 4 families,
Okay.
maybe 5 families. Sorry, yeah. 5 families maybe, and then obviously now there's around 500 people,
Yeah.
just over 500 people in Southampton, from a Nepalese background. So now there is a Nepalese community, and I'm a treasurer of the society. Yeah, so I mean, I haven't been actively involved in any of the other sorts of UK community, or I haven't been to their show events or anything, so I don't know how to compare.
Yeah.
But obviously our programs are not planned, I think.
Yeah. Or targeted towards the young people.
Yeah,
you say
they're
that?
not very specific. They are more generalized. When we do any events, it's for kids, it's for youngsters, it's for elder generation,
Yeah.
it's for everybody.
Yeah.
There is no specific target. And when it's not specifically targeted, we don't know what we're getting.
Yeah.
And
many people miss out as well, and they feel like, I think this feeling of youngsters in Nepal, like, okay, our voice is not being heard. If you have the same feeling even when you're here, where like people are supposed to learn that young people also have voice, they also have ideas, and we need to listen to them.
Yeah.
And if that kind of opportunity doesn't exist, I think it does hamper the development of the youth as well within our community. Of course, they go outside the community, because you can walk few houses and you will be out of the community, and then you see completely different thing. And in your community, when you don't see that, like the older people accepting you or integrating you properly, I think that is one of the problems. But you're starting one of the programs for the youths, aren't you, in the community?
Yeah, I'm doing a acoustic night on the 17th of April 2025, which is 3 days after the Nepalese New Year. So it will be a great time to celebrate Nepalese New Year 2082.
82, I think so.
Yeah, 82. Yeah, so we are ahead of English calendar or any other calendar in the world. And I'm proud of that,
I think it's the best thing. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. I like to say that
we
we're
are
in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the future.
So is it for everybody, or is it is there any restrictions?
Yeah, I mean it's mainly targeted for the youth,
Okay.
but anyone over 16 can attend the event. The venue is not very big. It can accommodate up to 60 to 70 people. But obviously there aren't many people in Southampton, from Nepalese background. So any background can come in and join the program
Okay.
if they love music and good food.
Yeah, definitely. So Gorkha Lounge, that's the place where it is in
Gorkha
Southampton.
Lounge.
Yeah.
It's one of the top restaurant in Southampton. They do good food, and there will be local artists singing and dancing as well. Some
Yep.
dance will be there.
Yep.
So
I would recommend people to attend it, because this community is very welcoming. I felt very welcomed when I came to Southampton 3 years ago, and I still feel like I belong to the community. I belong to the society here. They are very welcoming people. They're very kind. They're very polite as well. They respect you, and they will not ask you how much money you earn. They'll ask you how you are, which is, I think, which tells a lot about a community. When people start asking about how much you earn, the first thing that they say, like, how much you earn, what work do you do? They're not interested in you, are they? They're interested in things that you might have to offer. But yeah, they ask you how you are, which is a very good thing. And that's, in my mind, that's how I make a judgment about a community, if it's a good or bad. I mean, if it's a supportive or not supportive is what I mean. And yep, definitely 17th of April at Gorkha Lounge. If you're over 16 years of age, please visit. And by that, I think we'll have to end the podcast here. Towards the end, what I would like to say is, like, today we talked a lot about the community of Nepal, like struggles of growing up as a teenager in UK and as a student in UK or any other country, leaving your hometown, and basically all the struggles that comes from it. And also there are a few positives we talked about as well, like the things that you can do, you want to do wherever you are. Believe in yourself and go for it. If you have a dream, go for it. Believe in yourself and just do it. Don't listen to those people who pull your legs. We have a lot of that in our culture. And it won't be people who are outside the community. It will be the people within the family who will be doing the pulling of legs and all that. Like, please don't listen to them. Like, if you believe in yourself that you can do something, just go for it and just do it. And with that, I will end the podcast here today. Thank you, Santosh Dai, for being the guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.